Which one?
Unfortunately, this one.
This is short.
You sure? It looks like that one's on there.
Oh, that one's this one.
This one is working.
Yeah, that one's working.
So, just pull that. I didn't even touch it.
I know, it's really,
Oh, yeah, there.
it's really,
But I'm
It's
not
the
gonna be able to
wiring.
manipulate it. Oh, I see, I did touch it. That was, should I risk it?
well,
Should be
use
able.
one or the other, and you got them both right there, so here we go.
Just shoot it with one, Paula, since we're having,
Yeah, you're right, I should.
you don't have John and,
That's okay, you can,
Yeah, that's okay. I don't need to be on camera.
okay.
Okay, I'll do it like that. Okay, that should be getting everybody, right? Okay, we're rolling. Joe.
Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Unfortunately, we don't have enough people here to take a vote on anything. So, I'm not sure what we should do at this point in time, other than, maybe just talk. Anybody have anything that they wanna talk about, or anything they wanna bring up?
What were we going to vote on? Can you tell us, or?
Well, I wanted to bring up a vote on us being, let's say I have a show, right? And, I can't show up, or I can't show up one day. If Steve has the show after us, I could turn around and say, Steve, you can do my show for me, or you can have my time slot. So if any of the producers, by agreement among themselves, can either do someone, like Steve could do my show for me if I'm not gonna be there. That was the vote I was gonna bring about, so.
That's the way it's always been, as far as I know.
Well, yeah, but now that we have a board, let's
Oh, okay.
vote on it. We try to vote on everything and have an agreement, you know. And have it on the record what we're doing. So far, all the decisions that we've made have all been recorded, all been put as a vote, and
Speak into the mic.
especially since the town has failed to do what the town is supposed to do, and we told them, well, now, since you are not fulfilling your fiduciary responsibilities to take care of this station, we, the producers, are now taking control of the TV studio. We've already told them that, and now since we are taking control of the studio, everything that we've done have all been done by a vote of the producers, so that there's nothing being done without a vote. And we've covered most everything. That's probably the last thing that we've really got to cover is that we can fill in for each other, which is, oh, Steve, you made it.
I made it. Whoa.
Okay.
Wonderful. Let's widen the shot. Yay. Steve
I was
Romine,
just-
Vice President arrives.
What happened to Fanny?
What's that?
What happened to Fanny? She was here.
Oh, I don't know. Fanny said that she don't want to be a part of the board. That's what she told the town board meeting just the other day. But I was just saying, we actually don't really have enough people here to take a vote. But the vote that I was gonna suggest that we do, just to cover it, is that if any of us, like, say for example, me and Paula weren't gonna come to do our show, we could call you and say, Steve, you can fill in our time slot.
Okay.
So, or if you didn't, or if you weren't going to come in, you could say, Joe and Paula, you can fill in. But I think that if we're going to do that, like your show is Truth Squad. If you said, Joe and Paula, fill in for me, then we would say, we're filling in for Steve on the Truth Squad.
Okay.
Or you're filling in for Joe and Paula on either Rabbit Hole or Pot Dog. So we're making it clear to everybody that this time slot is just being filled, but we only have actually just 4 of us here to vote. I can call Randy and Felicia, I'm sure they're gonna vote, and I can call Oh,
yeah.
there's 5 of us here. Yeah, there's 5 of us.
The little old wife.
Yeah. Well, we could take a vote.
So, can I say something on this?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Directional.
Yeah. No, I got the headsets on so I can hear and check the sound. Thank you, John. I think the whole idea is just to create a community of producers working together.
Right.
And even though I think it was well expressed at our last meeting by George Conant, our treasurer, that we may have different views, but what we all have a passion about is our free speech to express those views, and that we'll support each other to express those views, even if they're different from ours. So it's not like ideology should be preventing us from working together. And I must say, I'm a real veteran of public access. I had a daily show in Manhattan for many years. I posted on YouTube when nobody posted on YouTube. It's now a 5 million hit account. And I have never had as rewarding as an experience as I had last Wednesday when we had 5 people working together. And Mercedes came on camera at the very last minute, when we had a few late people. And it was just wonderful to see how the show must go on. When we came to this studio, Steve, a half an hour ago, nothing was working. And it was the one time that my defense was down and I didn't bring my own backup camera, because I think it's important that we record each monthly producers meeting that we have. So that's what I think the vote that Joe's talking about is being taken in the spirit of cooperation and that producers help each other.
Well, actually, we have 5 now. We could take the vote, and I'll call Randy and Felicia, and I'll get in touch with Shelley and Nathan, who voted by internet. So
Yeah, because like last Wednesday, we had from 7 o'clock until midnight, nonstop.
okay,
Different
let's put it to a vote. All in favor of us being able.
Before you do that, can I say?
Oh, go ahead, sure.
Stipulate
Give him the
that
mic
you-
to be louder.
You can't pirate space or time unless you have the permission of the producer who owns the time.
Right,
that's,
right.
That's
Right
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
okay. I'll say we're voting on us being able to share time with each other by permission only.
Right.
You have to have the permission of the person whose time you're using. If they can't come in and they call you and say, "Hey, you got my time, or you can use my time. Fill in for me." All in favor of that being
Alright.
Aye.
Aye?
aye? Okay,
Aye.
we have 5 right now. I'll get in touch with Randy and Felicia and Nathan and Shelley, who I'm sure will go along with more than likely. They've gone along with everything that we've voted on so far. Who else? Who's missing, Paula? You?
Oh, Billy Mitchell.
Oh, Billy Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy will
He's
probably.
not online, and I forgot.
Billy will probably go along with it,
Yeah.
more than likely.
I think the whole idea is that as a
I'm
board...
not voting for them, I'm just
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
from talking to them what they'll probably do.
Do you want to introduce 3 possible new members of our board? Or should we go on to that?
Yeah, well, I'll
While
let
we're on
them.
that subject, can I add another thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Close to the mic, John. Thanks.
What about the carousel? The carousel takes time. If a producer doesn't show up, the carousel oftentimes has a program on the carousel that plays.
Oh, let it roll
So-
then. Don't you think let it roll? Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
don't you think that should be part of the stipulation, since it's sort of pirated time?
Well, if it's normal, if the carousel is set up right for normal people's time, I don't know that much about the carousel. That's Ellen's thing. But if our normal schedule time is scheduled for that, for our show, then that time slot should be open.
That's not the way the carousel works. Carousel works just, I don't think there's any organization to it.
Yeah.
I think it just plays one after the other, and sometimes it doesn't play. I haven't figured it out how it works, but at any rate, it'll go on during somebody's time slot if they don't show up, oftentimes. And it was doing that with Paula's time and with my time on Saturdays earlier. I haven't seen it do that lately.
I'll
Well, I
con-
think it was doing it today.
I'll talk with Ellen on that and
Well,
find out more.
I don't have any problem with it as it is,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to stipulate that because that's part of what we were talking about.
Steve, you know more about the, you know,
No, I don't. I don't know anything about the carousel.
Oh, Steve, can you bring the mic close to you? Because
normally
we're
I
gonna
think
wanna
when
I
you're,
don't
hear-
know anything
normally I
about the
think when
carousel.
you're doing a show, you turn off the carousel and you do your show.
Yes, right.
But so if you have someone's time, you should be able to, like if I was doing Steve's time or Steve was doing my time, he should be able to turn off the carousel and do my show, or
Yeah,
I should be
sure.
able to do his show.
Sure,
And then when you're done, you put the carousel back on.
yes.
Okay.
But if you don't show up, then that takes your time.
Automatically. Yeah, that's,
Automatically.
that, I don't have a problem with that. That's
All right.
fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Hello? Oh, can I put you on here?
You want me to explain about the carousel?
Yeah. Ellen's going to explain about the carousel. Okay, you want to explain?
Okay, so I program it. I try to program it in
Hold it
between
to the mic.
programs so that it doesn't come on when someone has a show.
I can't hear her.
Programs that don't, like the library or the town board, I program it through them because
Hold it to the
most weeks
microphone,
they
Paul.
don't have it.
Ellen, let me figure out how to make it so everybody in the room can hear.
Hold it to the microphone.
No, it's not the microphone. No. That's okay. Okay, go. Thank you, Ellen. Can you
Okay.
explain now to people?
What?
Now you're on.
Okay, so I try to program it so that and it takes a long time to do this, so that it only plays when there's no programming time. For certain shows that, like the library, that seldom goes on, I program it through the library. And the town board meetings are they're not on every week, so I let it play during the town board meetings, and they can just switch it off. Sometimes I mess up, and it might be, a few minutes over into somebody's show. So that's how it works. Do you understand that?
Joe, do you understand? Thank you, Ellen.
Okay, is that how everybody wants it? It takes me much longer to go, in between the programs.
Well,
But,
actually, Ellen, now that we have you here, what do you think is ideal? You're the veteran. Hello?
Yeah. Well, you mean whether it should go? Well, it's that's 6 of 1. That means cutting someone's program off, which is not very good, or else leaving that time blank if the producer doesn't show up. So which is not very good. So it's
Which
a
way-
toss up.
So why don't we just leave it your call, right?
All right. So you
We'll
want me to just
we'll
do it like
leave
as I
Ellen's
am?
call. Thank you, Ellen.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, go on.
Okay. We appreciate the job you do, Ellen, so we'll leave that up to you to decide and to work out. And we'll talk to you later over the phone and make sure that we're all on the same page. And I'd like to introduce some of the new people who are going to be hopefully joining our board. And I'll let them introduce themselves. We'll start.
Mercedes.
Me?
Say who you are.
My name's Mercedes Ross. I'm a local realtor. I work at Caldwell Banker Village Green Realty in Woodstock, right next to the Landau, and I've done some public access work before in Kingston and Hurley and New Paltz and Saugerties and also in Woodstock, and I'm excited to see this studio up and running.
Oh, while we have Mercedes there, I want to bring something up. I had the great joy to tech for your first show here
Yes, you
in this
did.
in this new
Yeah,
studio.
yeah, on
and,
Wednesday.
And you had a green screen behind you, and this is something that I want to bring up, and it's a very deep topic. I would like for people to be able to have an image. Be very careful. That camera, that'll go out in an instant. Okay.
It's working now.
Okay. Thank you. Can you pull it back a little? Never mind. Okay, never mind. It's working. It's okay. It's working. It's working. Okay. As an editor, I really wanted I really want to make all of you look fabulous, just wonderful. And with the green screen and new editing programs, I can put any kind of image behind you. Now, what I know this is going to make people have a lot of emotion. What's wrong with putting a Caldwell Banker logo behind you? Now, people say, no, you can't do it because public access is commercial free and all of that. But I believe what's far more of concerning to me is when you get DVDs coming in from all over the country, even with these 501c3s, good-hearted projects, but the people were never physically in the building, and they get, a time slot. Whereas when we have an actual flesh and blood man or woman that gets in front of the camera, what's the matter with saying this is where they work? That's what you're advertising. It's not the corporation. You're advertising the person. I mean, real estate is something that often is on public access shows.
If they don't do it as a commercial, if they say, this is where I work, I don't see a problem with it. If they do it as a commercial, then
I should have switched that.
you're losing. Oh, okay. If they're not doing it as a commercial, I don't think it
we
would be a
lost the
problem. We already discussed something similar to that with Billy Mitchell when Billy Mitchell videoed. When Bill.
You can keep going. I think you're on that one.
Okay, we already dealt with that, Paula, when Billy Mitchell put up the logo for Chet 5. And we said, Billy was recording bands, and the Chet 5 logo was behind the stage. And there were some people who objected to that, with Billy Mitchell saying that it was a commercial. And we agreed, the producers all agreed, that it wasn't really a commercial. That was Billy was working, recording a band, and the band was. Are you listening, Paula?
Yeah, it's hard. I'm listening, but it's really hard to tech when cameras go in and out. It was hard. That's why I'm saying I need to set it once and then leave it because the wire is all fiddly.
The wire's short on that, Steve. Yeah.
I appreciate you trying.
Anyway, I don't think it'd be a problem if she's doing a show, and she puts Caldwell Bank. Is it Caldwell Bank or?
Coldwell Banker.
Okay.
I think it would determine the size of the sign. In other words, if it's a colossal sign, that's one thing, but if it's a normal size sign, that would be something else.
Well, if she's saying, I work for Caldwell Bank, but she's not trying to get people, if she's not saying, come and sign up, if she's not doing it as a commercial venture, it's just that's where she works. I don't think that there's a problem with that. We already dealt with that with Billy,
I
if
would
you
agree.
remember.
We've always had names of companies in the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a problem. Okay, I'm going to move along to.
Hang on just a second. We didn't ask Mercedes what she wants.
Well, Paula, as you know, I've done, and as I just mentioned, I've done quite a bit of public access, and my feeling is that typically I'm not really going on TV to promote my business. My objective is to be informative and educational about various topics. So I'm kind of okay either way. I think it would be great if it's fine for me to promote my business, but again, my idea is that, I like to, as you know, as we talked about before, I used to have 2 shows. One was highlighting original arts and entertainment in the Hudson Valley, and that's, while it's interesting perhaps for people to know where I work, it's not really a part of the show. When I do my real estate show, again, it was more educational. So, maybe having company information could be helpful, but it's totally up to the board. in my opinion.
I don't think we'll have a problem.
Yeah, I know, we're not going to have a problem because we're the board. We can decide whatever we want. But a lot of times when we bring our decision to other people have challenged that decision based on precedent, which might not have any legal standing. What I'm trying to say is it's not so much promoting your business as promoting you. You're a woman who works in this community. She actually lives here. She has a physical body. We're dealing now in virtual realities. And later on, I hope to highlight Steve Romine's very important story, our vice president, because oftentimes we do have very important political messages also that sometimes people with businesses don't want to become involved with those messages, and that's fine. You can have different shows, educational shows, political shows.
Okay, I'm going to move along and,
Can I add something?
oh,
I know I'm talking a lot today.
no, it's
but,
all right. We want everybody to say
with
what they
the
want
law,
to
The law concerning public access says you can't have commercials.
say. Right.
Okay, if Caldwell Banker paid her to put the Caldwell Banker sign on,
Right, right.
that would be a commercial.
Right.
Otherwise, it's a public service announcement.
Fine, yeah, agreed, wonderful. Easy.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give you to Andy, who is also hoping to join our board.
Thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay.
Joe, when you say hoping to join our board, it's certainly not because the board isn't going to welcome anyone who wants to join.
No,
we're inclusive.
Same thing with her, with the other people here. They need to go down and sign up, and once they sign up, then all they have to do is come and join. Come and join the board. The board is
So
if you want to join, you can join. If you want to join, but no one's excluded from our board.
ever,
No producer's ever excluded from our board.
right.
It's by choice that we're all on this board. Okay.
Or by choice, we're not on this board.
Yeah, or by choice,
Right.
we're not on this board.
Thank you.
Allahu Alam, inshallah, is how I'd put
That's a
it.
little too close.
Okay.
Let me see.
Meaning, God knows, but God willing. That's what we said in the Middle East when I grew up.
Inshallah.
That's hoping you'll join is a way of saying inshallah. Meaning,
What color is your mic?
like,
your hands
God
on
willing
your
and the
mic.
creek don't rise.
Yellow.
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 Okay.
It's, I don't
Okay,
think
good.
we need to worry too much about the definition of that. It's a hope and an intention.
Okay, wonderful.
And my father was a foreign correspondent in this area, so my hope and intention is to bring some far-flung events to public access here in Woodstock. And actually, my first experience, is there anything I should delay for? I see you're looking to.
No, it's just I'm multitasking and I'm getting
Okay,
signals
well,
to
I'm
be
just
on the right. Yeah, I want.
don't want to
you
run
know what?
too far past you.
I can't really absorb these meetings until editing. That's all. But I'm trying the best I can to be in front and behind, and I'm thrilled. So what was it that you felt I didn't give you attention on? Andy?
So my name is Andy Farron, and my hope would be for a program called something like Honor Your Treaties, because it brings together law and sovereignty, which I think are super important, particularly here in this republic, so-called country, that people understand this issue, because it's based the fundamental, what is our relationship to each other, but also there is a fundamental element to what's happening in this United States, which has to do with the land and native peoples, and who is okay to be here, and who are we really, and that has to do with our agreements with each other as human beings. And to me, honor your treaties means keep your word, and also it means I think we as a nation need to honor our treaties, and we as individuals need to honor our word with each other, and so law and our relationships with each other and our word, and also the land and the use of the land that we share, that I think owns us, not that we own, that we are a part of. So rather than going on much further, I wanted to have a broad kind of a scope to it, but I think that honoring one's word is kind of relevant to everything, because we're human beings, and our integrity is an essential element of everything we do, say, think, and don't say. And so it's kind of broad, but it's also a message that I think needs to go out there, that the future generations need to be thinking about something that too many past generations have not been thinking about, which is, are we in integrity as a people, as a culture? And that's my thought.
Wonderful.
My first experience back here was with Hildy. I want to just honor Hildy Greenspan and Spice Hogan were doing recordings back here when it was, I think, just a radio station. Before it was that, it was about going back about 25 to 30 years ago. Do you remember them? Sure. And when they did that fundraiser right here in this building, that was my first experience in this building and in this area here. So done a few shows in the past, Shelley and Nathan, but...
Hildy lost.
Huh?
Hildy lost.
Well, yeah, that's a longer conversation. You mean about the court case?
Yeah.
Yes, she chose to change her legal strategy at a key point and shift to a different kind of speak out than winning a case. But
Oh, that's
anyway,
so well said.
Much love to Hildy Greenspan's memory and spirit, and thanks for bringing bringing me and my first wife here to Woodstock 30 years ago.
I think you excited John on that because he's into the archives.
No, but I was a primary assistant for her when Benji was kidnapped, and yeah, and she sought me out through the Rainbow family, and then I was helping her as best I could, and meeting all her friends here, and then I met somebody named David Dodge, who was a legal scholar, and I brought him to Woodstock to help with the case. And that's how actually I first met Joe, and that's I forget your question. Yeah.
Did you know the person? Mike,
Yeah.
Steve, Mike.
Just
Did you know Hildy?
Huh?
Did you know her?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Because along those lines, you two, Andi and Steve Romine, my passion is nonviolent communication, and in talking to Andi about why she lost her case, but what she did accomplish, I think it's really important that we can create a community where we can hear each other. And I think this woman sacrificed winning her case for being heard. There's a subtle difference there, and I want to explore that difference.
And by the way, Spice Hogan, her daughter, can be found on internet now. She's gotten into creating some of her own video and media work. And so her being a singer here in the band when she was just a teenager growing up here in Woodstock has turned into a career, including making videos and her own team of people.
What's happened to Benji?
He is still out in Colorado. Maybe we could talk more about it another time, but that family in that case is a special part, I think, of Woodstock history. Certainly for me.
Benji's father was the one who kidnapped him.
Oh.
Benji's father was the one who kidnapped him, yep. And when Benji realized he felt that he was just being used to hurt Hildy, he called up Spice and had Spice come and pick him up on his way to school in Baltimore, and then they made it over the border and joined Hildy and lived in Mexico with her and the newborn Xochipile Pilan. That's Hildy's last time was with all her family reunited in the bliss of living on the beaches in Mexico.
Wow.
And she ended in a good way. Not a lot of people know that, actually.
I didn't know.
Because she was kind of hiding out. She was so freaked out by the state, complicit to take her son, that she decided to raise her next child out of the limits and range and reach of this government and family services systems here. Anyway, and I met Lauren Paperno years ago doing a job, because I'm a green builder and environmental construction person. And so Lauren was a customer back when it wasn't called green building yet. It was just sustainability and priorities being brought into construction. And she shared that belief. And that's how we first met.
All connected. What is that, 6 degrees?
Are you Jill's sister?
No, actually, we think we're cousins
Oh.
because of the spelling of the last name. She's P-A-P and I'm P-I-P.
Oh.
So nice. Video is an intimate experience.
No kidding. Absolutely. Hi, my name is Lauren Paperno. I'm honored to be asked to come on board. I'm an artist and photographer, and part of my special interest in the world has always been quasi-anthropological. I've documented many various events in my lifetime, mostly about pop culture and the performer. So moving up here, my shift got really turned around, and I'm finding that I'm completely devoted to continue the artistic exploration of environment, or about biocentric material. However, what I'm discovering about this cable public access is very exciting to consider how I can bring my artistic skills and my quasi-anthropological slant, plus my interest in studio lighting, bring an asset to the to this public access station, to another degree of expansion. As a producer, I'm very interested in current environmental issues that is really top of the chart for me, about banning the barges, about the pipeline, and hopefully, and also about being a court watcher. And Andy and I were talking about maybe going on location. He's such a good speaker. He knows how to do all that important legal, incisive thinking, that perhaps there could be some coverage about what it means to have real insight into all the legal profession, the law, and how it's taking advantage of minorities. And being a court watcher would be an info meeting that's going to be happening actually on Tuesday in Ellenville, 7 p.m., 6 p.m., I forget. We can get details for you later. So that's primarily what draws me, and in a very excited way, to maybe be an asset to this group. So there you go.
Thank you, Lauren. And I just want to say it's the 18th of February of 2017.
And you can, since you're going to hook up with the Court Watchers group, you can maybe bring them in here and do a show with, because I'm interested in that kind of stuff too, and I think we should let the community know what Court Watcher is about.
Exactly.
Okay, George, you want to say anything?
Sure. I'd like to welcome Mercedes and Andi and Lauren to our board, and I think it's really exciting that we have so much interest and talent to add a yet wider dimension of programming for our community here. And one of the big reasons and impetus for me to continue growing as a producer here and as a treasurer for our board is the idea that public access should not be gerrymandered or restricted, and that there are other avenues that need to be liberated for not just our venue here, but all public access should or needs to be supported and the spirit and letter of the law enforced, which is a pathway to our World Web, live streaming, and again, when I say gerrymandering, I think it's just atrocious that we have cable access for 3,000 customers because of our location in Woodstock, and that these divisions between Kingston and various other communities. I have cable. It was Time Warner. It's now Spectrum, and I can't get other communities. I want to see what's going on in Kingston. I want to see what's going on in Saugerties, but I only have access to Woodstock. So I'd like to see that change. I would like to see our public access be less theory and more practice, where we really do have access. And Woodstock I have to honor Michael Lang and all those guys. They were doing a business deal, but their business deal of the Woodstock concert in 1969 grew beyond any dimension that they and their investors could have imagined. It was an explosion of consciousness, not just a business deal, and I don't think that had been anticipated. And now, Woodstock is the world's most famous little town. And I think, when I, being in business here myself as a manager of a movie theater, I deal with tourists, and they always invariably ask about the history of the big concert and the festival and all of that. But there's also a great interest in what that represents to the world, even though it may not have been thought that way, which is at the time, a message of peace and harmony, between all peoples. And so, in the spirit of that thought, I think that Woodstock Public Access kind of has almost a legacy and a responsibility to keep that momentum going, of bringing truth to the people and in a good way, so that everybody in this world has an equal footing for a roof over their heads, clean food and water, and clean air to breathe for 7 generations ahead.
Oh. Steve, you got anything to add?
Sure.
You know,
Whatever you say. Hi, everybody. My name is Steve Romine. I'm the Vice President of the Woodstock Producers Board. I'm proud of it. And glad to be part of this with everybody else here. It's been a long haul, and we're moving forward. And can't wait till we get on the internet again. That's my big passion to see happen. I just want to say that what's exciting about being on the Woodstock Producers Board and being part of this TV, public access TV arrangement is that we're living in very interesting times. And, this, as I see it, we've moved into a fascist era of the United States of America. I mean, it's always had elements of it, but now it's like full-fledged. And we need to keep a spotlight on this stuff that's going on, whether it be whatever manifestation of it, whether it be at Standing Rock or wherever the industrialists want to push forward against all the will of the people and only serve the 1%. We need to put a spotlight on that, and we can do that here with the studio, and that's why we have the Producers Board, to make sure we can do that. And I'm really happy about that, being able to do that. I do that with my show, the Woodstock Truth Squad, and on radio and TV. And I hope everybody will tune in on Monday nights, 7 o'clock, to see what's coming up, which, by the way, Monday night I have Dr. Sam Milham coming on, who's an expert on dirty electricity and the harmful effects of it. And so please tune in on Woodstock 104, and it'll also be going out here on cable too, simulcast. So once again, I just want to say I'm real glad to be part of this with everybody, and however I can help, I will. So here we go.
Thank you, Steve.
Oh, can I say something before Steve? I still want to hear from Steve. And no, you keep that, Joe, and you keep that, Steve.
Okay.
Last Wednesday, when Steve came on, my DVD ran out, so I wasn't able to show it to Joe because he'd already done a show about an hour before. You were talking about this asset seizure forfeiture, and I was going to propose, I mean, this is certainly a big topic and we need to think about it, and I don't think it's something to be voted on today. I think a letter from the Producers Board to the town of Woodstock vis-a-vis their signing of an agreement with Urgent, while this asset seizure issue is still, not resolved, and you had a personal story on this. I wish you would share that for the sake of this DVD, and then maybe we can deliberate what we can do as a board, that we can do more effectively than we could one by one.
You want to hear that right now?
I sure do.
Okay. Yeah, a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, a Rainbow Bro. I don't want to mention his name right here, right now. I told him I'd keep him anonymous, but I've known him since I was in my 20s, and I'm 65 right now, 66. So I've known him a real long time. We've been together and through a lot of things, and at this point of time in his life, he had suffered a serious injury, a fall, and he was on disability and is always on the brink of homelessness. And fortunate for him, though, in a way. I mean, his mother was aged and she passed away, but she left, her house got sold, and the children all got a piece of the money, which his share was about 40, 50,000. And so he told me what he wanted to do was go out and buy a Harley. And I said, hey, you're too old for a Harley. You don't want a Harley right now. What you need is a home, and you need a motor home, because you can't afford a house with 50,000. And so I said, get yourself a nice motor home. And I thought he wouldn't listen to me, because nobody ever usually does. So
We do.
including myself. I don't listen to anybody else. So anyway, he came back like a week or two later, and he said, look what I got. And it was a really beautiful motorhome. He got a real nice motorhome for under $10,000. And it was a really cool motorhome because it had the kitchen in the back of the motorhome, a counter with the whole big picture window. And I've never seen it. I've always seen bunks in the back. But his has a countertop and the big picture window and the kitchen looking out the back of the camper. It's really a nice camper. It's in good shape, a 2004. And so he got his dream come true. And along with that, about $40,000 or $50,000 in cash. Now, he doesn't trust the banks, and how could we not agree with him on that? He kept the money in a safe in the camper, and decided that he was going to go out west to L.A., where his daughter lives in California, and get a place to live and put her through acting school. And, I mean, it was a wonderful thing. It was a dream come true, and we went out to look at his camper, and we were so happy for him that he had this beautiful camper and money, in his camper. And he drove. I said, when are you leaving? He said, tomorrow. I said, well, okay, good luck, and keep me posted. And he drove out, and during this snowstorm, this last snowstorm, I was up on Shady on the side of a mountain there plowing, and he pulled in with his van. And he said he needed to talk to me, and I said, what's going on? He said, they took my motorhome. I said, what? He said, I was going through a state out west, and he was not doing anything illegal. He wasn't carrying anything illegal. He just failed to make a signal 100 feet before he changed lanes. 100 feet before he changed lanes. He signaled, but he didn't signal 100 feet in advance. So they pulled him over. And when they pulled him over, they said they wanted to use the dogs to sniff around his van. He said, go ahead, be my guest. So they went all around the van, the camper, and it's actually a motor home that you can walk from the driver's seat right into the back. I guess you call that a Class A. And they walked all around the motor home with the dogs, and they didn't smell anything. But they said, what's behind this door right here? It was on the external part of the camper. And he said, that's locked. He says, and he didn't give them permission to open it. And they jimmied it open, and in there was the safe, and they opened up the safe, and they got whatever was left, $45,000 or something that he had in there. And so they took his money, and they took his motorhome.
Asset forfeiture.
Took his motorhome, his home. It's not like this guy's a rich guy or is a middle-class guy and has an RV, which still doesn't give them any reason to take it. This was his home. And they took his motorhome, and they took all his money, and they sent him on his way. And so his whole dream was just shattered by this tyrannical use of power by the police, who he broke no crime, he broke no law, committed no crime, and he had his possessions taken away from him. And now he has almost no money, and yet he has to hire a lawyer to handle this case and to get his things back. I mean,
What was the basis of them taking his money?
the basis of them taking the money is a policy that law enforcement has, that if you have a large amount of money, you are a suspected drug dealer. But he didn't break any laws, so they have no right to take his stuff and put him through all this grief. And if he gets the money together and he gets a lawyer, or he gets a lawyer that will work with him on pro bono, he'll get his things back. But if he doesn't get his things back. So that's the story, and the latest is that he does have a lawyer in the area where it happened. He contacted a lawyer in the area that it happened, and that lawyer says they think he may even have a civil suit case against the police.
Absolutely. Can you connect that to asset forfeiture? You haven't said asset forfeiture. That's what is up in town here.
Yeah.
That's
So, I don't understand asset forfeiture. So, mate, you want to talk about asset forfeiture?
That's what Urgence does, and our town, the town board, is going to, because they get a little percentage of any forfeitures, so that they're inviting Urgent Task Force into the town to raid people's houses, because they're small thinking, and all they ever think about is revenue, and they figure they'll get 10%. But the town board is not thinking about the harm that's being done to the people that Urgent's going to be raiding.
Or the democracy, the so-called democracy, that's not only going to hurt
Right.
the people, but the democracy that
Right.
is just blows my mind when I think what happened to him, and that they had the gall to do what they did, and they didn't find any contraband.
So asset forfeiture is stealing under the color of law, just to be clear.
Right.
Yes.
Right. That's exactly what it
It's
is.
indiscriminate stealing under the color of law. In fact, there was just a few days ago, Donald Trump was talking to a police, military, what's the difference these days? Police person who was complaining to him that a local legal representative was bringing up issues about asset forfeiture, impeding the approval of asset forfeiture in that area, because the representative didn't feel like the police should be able to take anybody's money whenever they feel like it, because the thought crosses their mind to do it, that there may be a reason could be found to do it, to justify it, that that's not good enough for stealing. And Donald Trump's response was, well, who is this representative? Tell me his name and we can destroy his career. And at which point the mayor laughed and the police official laughed, and that was on the news about a week ago, and it was on the subject of asset forfeiture. So that's just another connection to recent. I guess asset forfeiture is going to be something they're going to be trying to use more and more of, yet another phrase for piracy on the open road or anywhere else.
And does anybody else have anything else that they want to
Oh,
add?
just a second. Oh. Well, what are we going to do about it as producers board? I think, right now, I would like to offer that we vote, maybe not now, because there's other people on the board that aren't here, and they should deliberate on this long and hard, to write a letter to the town of Woodstock urging them not to sign that agreement.
Okay, you want to make that a motion? Make it a motion.
I'll make that a motion, and I'll say furthermore.
I'll second it.
I will.
I second it. I third it.
Okay.
I will sign the letter, and I would like to say that if this vote does prevail, I can say it was a majority vote of the board if anybody's too fearful to put their name to it, which I can understand too in this time of asset seizure and forfeiture.
Okay, let's vote on it.
Okay,
All in favor?
You want to elaborate what I said?
All right.
Exactly what?
Paula made a motion that the board write a letter to the town saying that we voted on them not doing the urgent task force in this town and doing asset seizures, forfeiture. And let's just do the vote, and then, Steve? All in favor of us putting in a letter to the town?
Aye.
Okay, well, that's 5 of us. I'll contact them. I'm sure Randy and Felicia. Felicia already made a statement to the town,
Yeah.
so I'm
Felicia's
sure they're going to
statement
go
was-
with it.
Felicia's
That's
statement-
7. That's already enough for.
Could I ask you a question? I know that the town had on the agenda to sign that agreement at this last Tuesday meeting.
Yeah.
Did they not do that because of what Felicia said, or?
I'm not sure.
We don't know.
We don't
We
know.
don't know, but the thing is, if there's fraud involved, due process is involved, then it's null and void, right? We have legal beagles here. Does anybody want to speak to that? You know, what's done can be undone.
Well, let's.
Fraud.
Oh, you have, yeah.
Yeah, fraud.
Just before you go, do you have anything to say? Okay.
Okay, Steve. Have a good one.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get in touch with Randy and Felicia and Nathan and Shelley, who I'm sure are going to support it. Probably Billy too. That's one thing good. Most of us agree on pretty much most of what we're doing, and then we'll take it from there. And at that, we'll call this meeting to adjourn this meeting, unless anybody has anything they really want to say.
George, do you have anything more to say?
Okay at the moment.
Lauren?
Okay.
I'd like to.
And,
Oh, that's right. You wanted to talk about the pipeline.
Yeah, there's a group forming. It just formed on Facebook a few days ago in support of Native marches. There's a Native American march on Washington, March 10th. And so there's a local group here in Ulster County and in the Hudson Valley in general, actually, and beyond, as well into the Six Nations, who inspired the Two-Row Wampum Memorial campaign, I think it was called, the memorial paddle down the Hudson River to honor the Two-Row Wampum Treaty.
Wampum
Anyway,
means money, doesn't it? Or do I not know? I don't
well,
know.
it's a word that is in English used there's a folk tradition of that. I don't want to spend too much time on the definition of the word wampum, because what I'm trying to say is that it's beyond the Hudson Valley even, and we are organizing to support marches that are shedding attention on the destructive potential of pipelines here in the Hudson Valley, and also showing up in Washington as a stand for Native peoples on March 10th. And so an organizing group, I guess now I should, to be effective, give you a way to contact the group. And I'm new. My son gave me a Facebook page a few weeks ago, so it's all new to me. So I could give you my email address, Love Transforms Fear. If you can remember that, lovetransformsfear@gmail.com. And that's the best I can do right now in terms of if you contact me, I can put you in touch with that group. And I just wanted to add that I think what a lot of this letter and why we're in common and this media, you know, you're a student at Pratt photography, it has to do with light, right? Art has to do with light. So much of this law has to do with light. And so much of what we're doing, I think that the struggle between light and the blocking of light is very much running through all of these things. And I just wanted to point
That's
that out.
right.
Yeah.
Can you?
And I'd like to add to that, I'm also working with trying to help with the legal cases for the
Native
Lakota down in Dakota, and I'm also working with the Hawaiians, trying to get their rights. We all the people out there, all the white people out there, really should start supporting the Native people. They've been screwed around long enough, and it's time for all of us to take a stand to do something to support. So it don't matter what tribe it is. We recommend that all white people get involved. Let's honor the treaties, like has been said earlier, and we need to press our government to honor the treaties with the Native American Indian people. And at that, we've talked pretty much long enough, and support the Native Americans and the Indians, and we're going to say goodbye. We're going to stop this meeting.
Okay, you sure? No last thoughts, George, on that? Because you're a Native expert.
No, that sums it up
Okay.
quite well.
And we're going to do more shows. Believe me, we're going to do many more shows on this subject, so we'll cut it short now.
You know the civil rights movement, the
Yeah.
next civil rights movement.
Yeah.
All right.
Spiritual civil rights,
All right.
Yeah.
as opposed to political.
Okay. Okay. So we're off.